Hello. I tried to do something different today by recording a video like right after getting out of work while I'm like raw, meaning with no chance to gather my thoughts or even sound correct or anything. I know I'll get into that, but I didn't have a chance today because of family matters. But uh, as I am preparing to go back to school and stuff, I I'm just firing up more complex thoughts. And I think a lot about. I'm unbridling my thinking. I'm just thinking about anything I possibly can, and not. I was. It's you were probably taught to think wrong, and I know I was because I was. You're taught almost not to think in a lot of situations. You're taught how to not think, rather. But I think a lot about the lack of social cohesion, the fact that we only have a civilization because at one point there was a more social cohesion than is in existence now, in operation now. Uh, I guess I should mention also, before anything else, that the sound of my own voice irritates me, so I know it's got to be bothersome to people because I keep running into situations where they don't even like people I thought knew me well, they're just like unable to handle my voice. So that's weird on my part. I don't intend it, but it actually seems to people just don't like it. I wish there was some way to apologize without it being weird. But this cohesion is not around because of this. The reason you are even able to look at me is the reason there isn't any cohesion, because people are tricked into thinking they're dealing with a real person, even though it's just a video of a real person. And the speech impediment is weird because I didn't think I had one. With work in general, I'm just beat over the head with. Did I say that right? Did I do that right? Because normally I'm just like a Kafka in bug. Like I can just be around. It doesn't bother me to just exist around people. I don't I don't need things from people. But this whole thing of friendship also is it's just dissolved. It's like now it's almost a meaningless word, because if you really would, it comes down to being a friend. It's not a thing certain people can pull off. It's interesting. Like they actually don't. There's no reciprocity. It's interesting because reciprocity, in a way, it means you need the other person. Like you want them with you. And either people are uninterested in being attached, even friendly, or they can't be. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more traumatized people walking around now, and so yeah, you're gonna have less and less relatability towards anyone because everyone is gonna have collectively less and less access to their emotions, right? Uh, this thing of oh yeah, this was pretty privilege also. Was the other thing I was going to get back into. Also relating to this friend zone thing that I want. Even I don't know enough about. I just don't even have enough experience to speak on anything really. But from what I have gone through with relationships so far, is I've I find myself able to reverse engineer a lot of this garble that you hear online and just people bringing into reality that is off of the internet, which to me is a cursed thing. I don't like to hear about internet stuff in real life. It's weird. I almost want to shush people. But it's a free country. uh uh this thing about the friend zone where people are it comes down to like a person being mad that the basically mad or frustrated or whatever that a certain other person that they want doesn't physically desire them the same way. It's used like they'll use it as generally meaning the person just doesn't feel affectionate towards them in any way, just isn't attracted, you know, whether wanting something serious, unserious, long term, whatever. In the so-called friend zoned person's head, which like the fact that you actually are there, people put like time limits on relationships in their head, and run timers on stuff, how long certain things should go on before they do or don't make sense, uh, to continue enduring. Stuff like that is like the backbone of a lot of the interactions that people end up having. That this muddled definition where it's not, it just means that you're sort of held at arm's length, and that or in general that you're treated like the toxic dumping ground for their life's nonsense, like an unpaid therapist. It's interesting, or something. The things that people complain about is what I'm trying to describe. Mainly, I guess, mainly guys. But I've also spoken to women who felt this friend zone thing, and I gotta say I'm not sure if I've ever necessarily been what people refer to as friend zoned. The point I wanted to make is that it doesn't. I don't think it exists. I think it's an illusion. To at least in a lot of cases, it's a misunderstanding. It's like a mirage, or like a fog that exists because you don't have the full picture. You're trying to power the system on lacking crucial connective components, and it won't work. And of course it doesn't make sense. Uh, the friends people friend zone themselves, it seems like, because they grovel and they beg in some way, even very subtly, at the feet of the person they want this affection for. either that or they allow themselves to be like teased essentially by someone who uh, is just getting some kind of thrill out of obviously turning someone on while like giving them all this stuff for no reason, giving them all this garbage about their life to memorize, and yeah, giving them what the old folks call an ear beating over just their nonsense. Telling them their life's story is another expression. If this is happening to you, you let it happen to you, because it's rare that someone will walk up to you at gunpoint or knife point and start just like dumping their nonsense on you, or using you as like some sort of punching bag, but like a punching bag that you punch in front of other people so they laugh. All this, like, this is contained within the friend zone stuff. This type of it's like, you, even if this happens to you a lot or whatever, and you feel as though you can't be with people or that you want, and that happens to you often, and you see these people choosing someone else, this is the other part of it, where they're like, well, there's these other people that don't get friend zone. Of course there's gonna be the fact that you're gonna have people are gonna want who they want, right? So that you're gonna have the people that are gonna have no resistance when it comes to when it comes to their type, basically, right? So it might come down to the fact that you're just not their type. But if you consider yourself friend zoned, bro, this is one of these things where the definition of friend is broken down. You're not it's like a self-canceling term. You're not a friend. If you're friend, there's no like, if you conceive of it as a friend zone, meaning there's another zone you're not getting to, you're not a friend. You're just trying to smash. No matter what, like, no matter who's trying to do what to each other. Because at this point, like, men act like women and women act like, everybody acts like each other. So we could speak like classically, but it wouldn't make sense at this point, obviously. So you can either be a friend or you can be a foe, right? And at some level, if you're having sex with a person, you're friends with them. That's the other thing with this non-serious relationship stuff. It kind of doesn't exist, bro. It's either it's at some level, it's a relationship is like by default a serious thing, because you got to look the other person in the eyes. I've found out a lot of women do not like that. They want to be utterly objectified to the point of like you having no attachment to them. Having no desire to take them serious or bring them into your house or nothing. They want to be treated like objects. That is what the person who gets to do all the physical stuff has to do in a lot of the time, a lot of cases, and you cannot get attached. You just have to bang her out and leave. Or else you don't get friend zoned, you won't be called back. They won't talk to you. That's the other thing. The person who gets to actually do it, who isn't friend zone, as it's called, this silly term, it's like you could look at it as an inverted friend zone. It's like a fuck zone. Like all they will do is fuck you, and you won't get nothing else. That's what you get from it. But again, that would be looking at it, I think, the wrong way. Because at any level of interaction, any level of like, on that level, I mean, it's in the it's in your bones. It's like it's just like a natural reaction. If you're out there, like if you just meet someone and it ends up that you have sex with them, like uh, relatively soon within that, from the initial meeting, it's like it was gonna happen no matter what. Like your biologies were matched somehow, like it, and your personalities took however amount of time to get out of the way of that, and let the initial the base levels meet each other. Fuck. And yeah, there's this definite, like, what is a friend? What is that Alice in Chains song, Frogs? Isn't the first line, what does friend mean to you? A word so wrongfully abused? Is that what it is? What does friend mean to you? That song's almost, 30 years old? Did that guy know how many people would be asking this later? Because it's the definition is broken down. Like, I mean, man, you gotta need the other person for it to be a real friendship. I gotta want that person on some level, that it'll be tender to my heart, that it won't feel as though there's a barrier, even if nothing sexual happens. There won't be a zone. There won't be zones. It's because you're close. The friend zone, anyone who thinks like that, you're inherently selfish. You're some type of fool. And I have pretty privilege as a man, which is not, again, not necessarily a great thing everywhere. Especially not if it's like a feminine pretty that you don't even, like I said before, like you don't attempt. This is stuff you hear all the time. The type of looks I get from men, like I said, like, I mean, it's like this secondhand jealousy that they get, that they're like, why can't my woman look at me like that? He's not even with her, and she doesn't look at me like that, you know. God did that to my face. You know, I can only thank God that it's a problem that I have. Like, if you're hot enough and you don't act arrogant, people really treat you like you're a retard, or they treat you like you're doing a false humility thing. If people look at you and they desire you, and you don't, your behavior doesn't match with what they believe, they're like, well, you're stupid, man. So people, if you look a certain way, will even expect you to act like that. Internal expectation that they have because of probably the TV, which is the phone, obviously. Now there's no really any difference. It's not really TV. It lives with all of us. You can't turn it off. I mean, even Rick Roderick, people laughed at it in the 80s when he was talking about it, but they're not laughing anymore. They can't. So if you really feel for someone, it won't feel like a friend zone. You'll just be like, man, I like that person. Whatever it is. I like seeing their face. I like hearing their voice. They mean something to me. I don't know if that's a friend zone. Isn't that kind of like some type of like deep bond? How could you look at that and be like, yeah, but I can't fuck her? I mean, and even so, you mean like if she's nice to you and you like her and everything, and there's this like tension that you can't. It's like, well, then you're not. I don't think you are tight like that. Maybe in your imagination. So yeah, I think it's an imaginary term. I think it's a term that exists. Because I mean, there's some people that just, for whatever reason, they cannot stand outside themselves far, and they can't zoom out far enough. They can't consider where the other person came from, and I mean, I had to learn empathy like a mechanical process, literally. Like, I mean, I was traumatized as a child. I had, you know, short of molestation, I mean, but pretty much everything else, aside from physical beating and other, every other type of trauma happened to me, imaginable. Pretty much, some version of it. So I had to reassemble my empathy. All of those structures of thought and association had to be repackaged. I had to redo it. And a lot of garbage and false nonsense was told to me by therapists and so-called professionals. I'll say it. False stuff. They will lie to you. So also, don't give me none of this go to therapy, enough. I have been. And they've lied to my face. They'll probably lie to you too. So do your own research to your best ability. And if you're going to read the Bible, read other books too, please. Because it'll make the Bible make more sense. There's nothing wrong with it, with reading other books. It's okay. It's good. This is the other thing. I come to people with information about stuff. People don't read literature or books. Not even on the phones. Nowhere. They read it not on screens. They don't read things. So they think the gap between people who know things and don't know things is insane. It's worse than ever now. I've said that before, I think, but it's probably will only get worse because I'm not as intelligent as I could be. And I know that there are people who look at me and think I can't have a conversation with this idiot. I work with people like that. Sometimes I dread going into work because I know people that smart will be there. And I'm like, I'm just going to have to disappoint an incredibly smart person all day. But the least you could do is read a book. Just read a book at this point in time. Dude, this is Fahrenheit 451, literally. Like, we're at a point where we literally don't need books. So there will be, I think probably for this point, there will be more incentive than ever to get rid of them and more incentive than ever to hold on to them. They're going to matter because most everything that comes on the screen is brought up at random or obviously not at random. It can the feeds and such obviously are randomized, but it feeds off of what you're putting into the system. Your interests obviously feedback, and so you're getting something that is processed in some way. It's already thought about what to put forth, so to speak, to you. So somehow it's still not even your preference and your thoughts because you didn't in a way, it's impossible to discover anything because it's shot out by an algorithm that knows what you're going to look for because it's clicked into all the other advertiser circles and everything else that is tracking your activity. The obviously everything communicates with everything else. Functioning to disconnect people from each other somehow.